to this important afternoon when Telitukum is presenting a special showing of the project and of the movie Wells of Hope. So I'm going to say very little except to say that I think this is a very historic occasion when we as women religious and women of other faiths are working together in the Mediterranean basin to combat human trafficking. And it's a very important story to tell, that we as women can do much together. I always say where one of us is, all of us are. So we are celebrating something that has grown from a tiny shoot to something that is becoming stronger and that is spreading among women of different faiths. And I'm so grateful to all who are here today to celebrate the growth that is happening slowly. And that is our sign of our collaboration, but also of our belief in the need to nurture and support those who are lost or victims in any context. And in particular, we're looking at the context of those who have been trafficked for different purposes. And so I'm handing to Sister Gabriella, who I know is struggling with her voice. And she will lead us through this afternoon and tell us the different items. So thank you for being with us, both here at UISG, but also online. We feel this is a very important afternoon for all of us. Thank you.
Italiano. I will speak in Italian. I truly want to thank you for your presence here today, not only physically here in this hall, but also online to share this truly important day. I want to thank all the representatives of the embassies here present, also of the board of the International Union of Superiors General, and also all of the sisters collaborating in this project and who are here today. I would like to thank all of you, all of those who have different cultures, different confessions and religions, and who are here today to see this documentary for the first time. And I would like to welcome, and I ask you to applaud, the 4 women coming from the Middle East who are here with us today. Sister Mary Claude, she has been the pioneer of this project. We have truly discovered her, and from the very beginning she has taken the lead of it, and I invite her to come here to the podium to share a few words. We will then give the floor to the other members. Nassim, she comes from Lebanon. She's a Druze. Nassim. Ezra and Wafa. Ezra is Sunni Muslim, and Wafa, she's Christian, Orthodox Christian. They both come from Jordan. We also have Helen. She's Nassim's daughter, and she has basically created the poster of our beautiful documentary, this film. She is studying in Bologna, fine arts. So welcome, and a very special welcome to Leah, who is the film director, and with her special and particular sensitivity. She has truly been able to allow this beautiful project to be narrated and extremely creative. And I also invite you to come here to the podium if you can kindly help us to introduce the documentary. So after these very short introduction and a very special thanks, I want to thank all the staff of the UISG, of Talita Kum, who have been truly vital in making this whole project a reality. I'd like to give the floor to Sister Mary Claude, if she can just give us a short introduction. Oh, even three. Yes, I was asking her something, a little extra. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, this is the only language she cannot speak. She can speak Italian, English, or Arabic. If I cannot speak in French, I will speak Arabic. From a dream to an adventure, and the adventure to the actual implementation of our goals. And this is, in a few words, the project, Wells of Hope. Truly, these are resources, sources of hope, which we have translated in all the different languages. Every single source of hope is like a tree, and the tree has branches. And the very first one starts from the heart of Rome, from the Vatican, from the heart of the UISG. And it has, like a tree, every river, every streak, every river flows into the sea. So where is the end of a river? It's the sea, it's the ocean. And one of these rivers come from the Mediterranean, from the Middle East, from all of those countries in the Middle East, which are our countries, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan. And today, can you hear well? And today for me, it's a joy, true joy, here together with Sister Pat. We will travel and we will shortly arrive in Egypt. Our project has started because it has been a request from the superiors general in Rome, and it has reached all of the superiors general worldwide, in particular in the Middle East, because they, as consecrated women, have promoted this project. But we truly had a special mission which was entrusted to us. That is to understand, to try to understand all the information which is part of the Middle East context, that is part of a map. We had to do a bit of a mapping, and we succeeded. We succeeded that. And then 6 months later, we basically organized a meeting with Syria, with Jordan, with Lebanon, and our first meeting was under the aegis of under the sponsorship of the UISG, with the presence and participation of the president, Sister Gabriella Bottani, who is the coordinator of the network. And that is when we have started, when we have launched our project. Who are we? We are women, Christian women, Muslims. We are consecrated women, and we are called to work in the field of human activities, which is part of our mission. But we do work and collaborate with all those who are active in this field. And that's the reason why both consecrated women as well as lay women, we join forces and we work together. We are both brothers and sisters, and we are trying to reach out to other brothers and sisters, part of our same humankind. And the goal of this project is precisely to truly generate life. And this source of life has to follow a very long path. And along this path, we want to make sure that life prevails over death. And so our first goal is that to eliminate all forms of obstacles along the path of women worldwide in order to be able to achieve very specific goals in this network. And we would like to help and give this to all those who will receive our formation, our support, in order to reach out to the victims. And once we finally can encounter the victims, we want to truly embrace them in our arms. And we want to heal their sufferings, the sufferings that they have experienced and which have truly wounded and created a very deep wound inside, deep inside. And together with psychoanalysts, social workers, legal workers, lawyers, we want to help the victim to be reinserted in our societies, but this is not yet our primary goal. Because we want this person, this woman, to be formed, to be trained so that she can become self-sufficient, she can develop her talents and her skills in order to have a profession, and that she may then work in her country once she will be able to return to her native country and to live with dignity. And this is the path of our of these sources of hope. Thank you so much, Sister Marie-Claude, because through your words, we are now slowly entering into the project, but also Leah is going to now introduce her give us a few inputs into the documentary that we will shortly be viewing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Gabriella, because thank you for having us, invited us in Talita Kum, the Aurora Vision. Our filmmaking company produces documentaries in order to give voice to the voiceless. And Pope Francis said, never stop communicating hope and charity. And we try to do that in our documentaries. Thanks to the meeting with Talita Kum and the project of Wells of Hope, we were confronted with a very important challenge. And that was the moment when we truly worked, and we worked a lot together with Sister Gabriella in order to find a proper narrative. It's easy, you just take a victim of trafficking and you place her in front, maybe covered, in front of the camera, and then you try to simply ask her to talk about her dramatic experience. And it's easy because the impact is very strong and emotional, but we do not give dignity to that woman. And we want to do that. Through Talita Kum, we want to restore dignity to the victims. And this is the reason why we decided to use the arts and the talents of the wonderful storyteller Nassim that you're going to be able to see. And she's truly an activist of Talita Kum, so she's part of this network. And she is going to be the storyteller of this wonderful story, accompanied by the interviews with Sister Marie-Claude, Sister Ezra, Wafa, and the others. And we have decided to follow that with the wonderful images which do represent the four elements: air, fire, earth, and water. These four elements, universal elements, which from darkness open up light and hope. And also the music is a music which is played by Corrado and Simon Tabungaro, two wonderful musicians. And together we have chosen, in the middle of the desert in Jordan, we together have decided, and it has been a very emotional and very strong moment. And this is why I truly would like to thank all of the collaborators who are here live, because, you know, a film is never the result or the production of one person. Even if it's only half an hour, there are thousands of hours of work in order to produce 30 minutes. So I truly want to thank all of the collaborators. I want to thank all of our partners. Helen, and she has produced this wonderful poster. Thank you, Helen, for your wonderful art. You know, the eye has several meanings, and she tried to interpret through the line, and the line is the line of the eye. And then we also have Alberto, my husband. He has done all of the, I think we have only two men here, so we should welcome them as well for their presence. And it's wonderful because, you know, along this way, besides women of different religions, we together, we had some other partners who have collaborated with Talita Kum and with us and developing this project. Islamic Relief, Italy. They wanted to invite us in Lebanon. At the beginning, we were supposed to be there, but unfortunately, for a number of reasons, let's say, because unfortunately the conflict, the situation wasn't sufficiently peaceful, but they helped us a lot with translation, the fact of working together, just like as you do with Talita Kum. Also, our film is a joint collaboration, Religion Today, which is a film festival, and Religion for Peace at the FAO of the United Nations. And now, what do you do when you have a documentary and it comes to an end? The end of the documentary is the beginning of a path. So there's going to be a first in the International Film Festival, where we try to outreach a completely different audience, which doesn't share our path. But, you know, the first debut is going to be in 10 days at the Human Rights International Film Festival in Nepal. I know that there is one of the sisters from the congregation. She will be with us, with our filmmaker, who is going to present that. So this documentary is going to travel around in the various international film festivals. You can download that at the Talita Kum website, or you can purchase outside. It's very short. It's, you know, it's very difficult to have a very short film. An hour and a half is much easier than half an hour, because you truly have to choose very carefully the images, which can be used in the groups, in the classrooms, in any evenings, because we want to make, we want to spread out the work of Talita Kum and of Wells of Hope, and also to support this wonderful work of Talita Kum. And allow me to just conclude with this wonderful image. A couple of days ago, I felt a bit concerned because, you know, as a member of, as a communication worker, I was looking at the poster of the Mediterranean Forum, which is being held in Bari, but I was concerned because unfortunately on the website, the images, the photos, only men, 100 men, and then you women are here, and that is giving me hope instead. I felt a little bit upset, but thank you very much, Leah. I want to really thank you very much, DGHR Foundation, which has from the very beginning supported and sponsored this project, and all those foundations, governments, embassies, to the Holy See of the various countries, such as the United Kingdom, Ireland, have really supported us always throughout these last years. And I want to truly thank all of those who are here present, not only helping us, supporting us financially, but with their friendship, and also disseminating our work. A very heartfelt thank you, and now I invite you to enjoy the documentary.
La 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 la.
And I think that, scusate in italiano.
I really, with this very low voice, I'm unable to speak in English. I think that every second of this documentary is truly very important, and it truly strikes a balance, and the narrative is very intense. I would like to ask a question to our three protagonists, and then of course I would like to give time for you for your questions. The first question I would like to address to Ezra. Could you introduce yourself, first of all, because I'm completely unable. I have really very little voice. I ask you to help me. And if you can tell us how has your experience been? How has been the experience with this documentary?
مرحبا بس بالأول بدي أشكر كمان.
So first of all, allow me to thank my mother, because my mother is not here, but she has been the one who has prepared that wonderful plate, that wonderful food, and I want to really thank her. My name is Ezra, and I work in the field of scientific research. I'm a formator, but I'm also a member of the research group. I've been working in this field of human and social sciences. I live in a very small village. The majority are Muslims, but we do have a little village who are Christian brothers, but I have never heard that we were defined Muslims and they as Christians. There was no difference for us, and also for the parties and for the festivities. They were always shared. So Jordan for me is a very peaceful country, and I felt always very safe. My experience started from my own feeling. I understood that women, and I felt that women should have a right to vote and a right to speak and to be heard, and particularly in those Middle East countries always afflicted by wars, and women in a war, in a conflict, are the ones who suffer the most. And that was the reason why I felt that I want to do something. I wanted to contribute, to change something in my society. In this completely new field to me. It has been a very unique experience. It really touched me and moved me because I had never worked in the field of human trafficking and in this struggle and to protect and defend and promote human rights, because I did meet with other religions, cultures, but I understood that women, well, the women who are the protagonists of this project, they are not all of the same religion and they are not all of the same country. So we want to speak about fraternity, of peace, a peaceful coexistence. We truly don't feel that difference because thanks to this documentary and thanks to the presence of my mother in this documentary, she's such an enthusiast. Because at the beginning she didn't understand what Leah was saying because they didn't speak the same language, but there was a great proximity. Leah was speaking in Italian and somehow they were able to understand each other, maybe through the gestures. It was a bit unusual for us, but it was very encouraging. And I truly want to encourage you to carry on to disseminate this work through your cooperation, your contribution, even financial contribution, the support of embassies, so that not only the wells of hope may grow, but also throughout the world. I want to please a big hug to your mother and to your brother, who's been really unable to turn that dish, but I think he has done his best. I would like to give now the floor to Wafa, and I'd like to ask the same. Oh, it wasn't the brother. Oh, I see. It was just a friend. Wonderful. He's the driver. It was Leah's driver. So thank him in any case for having tried. Wafa, please, if you don't mind introducing yourself and maybe tell us from your standpoint, you are a Christian Orthodox. How did you feel joining this group and how was this experience together with us and with our network? Thank you. So good afternoon. My name is Wafa. I come from Jordan, and my experience in this documentary has been truly very rich. A very rich experience with all of the members of this project, both in Lebanon and Syria, in the Middle East. And we truly hope that this project can be disseminated to other Mediterranean countries. I would say that since 7 years, or at least now for 7 years, I had always been very interested in the interfaith dialogue, and I always tried to attend all of the meetings in this field. I also attended some formation courses in the field of interfaith dialogue. There were a lot of initiatives which took place, and one in particular, which was the role of women in interfaith dialogue, which I had organized with another collaborator from Syria, particularly in the Arab communities and among refugees. And it is thanks to this experience in particular that I had developed faith in confidence in the fact that that we can live together, and this sharing experiences together does create bonds. And thanks to this project, we were able to work with women. And this for me has been a wonderful experience, not only because we were able to dialogue, to have a beautiful dialogue, but although we were from different religions, different cultures, different countries, we basically, the dialogue was a very daily, ordinary conversation because it is what we reflect in our daily lives as women.
Wafa è un attivista.
Wafa is an activist of the interfaith dialogue, and I truly would like to thank their commitment, the commitment of women who are working together in this strong bond. And thank you for what you do and what you are. Nassim, of course, you were asked to tell a story. And you have said at a certain moment that you're not Shaima, but you were able to transmit the true pain and hope and joy of this woman, of this young woman. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are? Can you introduce yourself, and maybe also how did you live this experience in the documentary? Thank you. Well, first of all, allow me to thank Talita Kum, because it is Talita Kum which has invited us and has told us, women, stand up, rise, and move forward. And I would like to thank also for this project, Wells of Hope. I am Nassim. I come from a little country, Antain, a little village from Lebanon. I love my country. I invite you to visit my country. And I left my country after the war. And so I have always, I've been, I mean, I grew up and I have studied fine arts, theater. And storytelling is my profession. I work in a library, in a public library that my sister had opened up in a little village. And I constantly organize meetings with women, elderly women and men, children. And we always organize a lot of cultural events. In my profession, as a storyteller, I basically learned a lot about legends, about fables, but then I went into reality, because unfortunately there was a moment of very intense violence against women. And when I started to tell stories, I started including some moments of reality. I spoke about acts of violence, of true events, unfortunately. So I tried to transpose and bring reality in my story, in the stories I was telling. So in listening to my stories, you could truly understand the actual message I wanted to convey. So the story was closer to reality of people. And in this experience in the documentary, for me, it was the first time that I was a storyteller. I was narrating a true story. I had never knew about it. But in telling it, I felt this story very close. And I was thinking about this very young girl. She was so trustful, and I'm a mother, and I started thinking at myself, at my daughter and all the friends of my daughter. And I truly felt the how serious this was, and it also was a duty in order to raise awareness against these events and facts. And it's something which really touches women. And I want to thank this project, Wells of Hope, which has basically guided us and led us on this path where different women from different professions, how we together can raise awareness in our societies. And I truly hope to be able to continue working and collaborating in order to bring hope, more hope to people, so that they may enjoy a new spring worldwide.
Online a mandarci dei messaggi, a mandar.
So give us some, well, of course, if you do have messages for those who are online, please send them. And of course, when you receive requests, comments, questions, please let us know, and we will try to share them with all of you. I do have a question here. And the comment is, it's a truly emotional and very interesting documentary. This is one of the first comments we received online. Thank you very much. I would like to now open the floor to a first round of questions and comments. I think it's very important also for you here at the podium to somehow receive your feedback. What did you feel? How did you react? But also, if you do have questions, take advantage. It's a truly unique opportunity. And if you want to take the floor, kindly raise your hands, turn on the mic on your tables, and do not forget to switch them off. And you can speak in Italian, in English, or in Arabic. Thank you.
Intanto Lia chiede la parola, gliela diamo intanto.
Leah would like to take the floor. So prepare. I would like to take this opportunity while you're thinking what you would like to ask. After we have done the presentation to the press, what did you bring with you after meeting such brave women? Because not in all societies and women can speak openly or can even be filmed. And so it's very important, the fact that these women have accepted to be openly filmed and to take part to this documentary. I think it's a wonderful project. And what was my answer? I said, well, what remained with me after this experience? Pride, the strength and the force of each of them. And the idea was to use the strength to build bridges, not walls. Women of different religions, resolute, very much linked to their culture, tradition, identity, and story and history. But only when you really cling to your identity, you can build bridges, because you're not afraid of losing something from your heritage, because you're well aware of who you are. So working together, not only living together, but working together, women from different religions and cultures within this network, Talita Kum, and this is truly what I have received, their courage and their strength. Thank you very much, Leah. Let's now see if there's any question. Don't be shy.
Hello, I'm Grace Relucio Princesa, Philippine Ambassador to the Holy See. Salam alaikum. It made me water to see the food. I've been 12 years in the Middle East, in Iraq, in Egypt. We used to visit Lebanon and also Jordan, Jordan. So shukran jazilan. Thanks so much for what you have done. And sister, everyone here, big clap. As the title of the movie says, Wells of Hope, there's always hope when people, and in this case women, are really bonding together and connecting, and we hope that this film really will go more places. As you know, in the Philippines also, we have the same problem. We Filipinas are all over the world also, we're migrants, and all these problems happen. But yes, I'm glad that UISG is doing this, and Sister Gabriel exactly, and these beautiful women from these beautiful places that I've seen. So I'm just glad to see you all. And I hope I can eat that food again. It's really yummy, that food. So thank you, shukran jazilan. God bless. Salamat.
Thank you, Princess.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Princess, and thank you for your
Ambassadors, women ambassador following Talita Kum. Yes, thank you.
I think what struck me was the power of storytelling, and that as women, we all have stories that we can tell. And I think it's the encouragement to use our voices to tell the stories that need to be told, no matter where we're from or where we're returning to. There are many in this room who are here for a period of 5 months at a program. So you have stories in your own places that need to be raised up. So I think you have shown us the art of storytelling. And I think the other was just the use of the creative. As women, our creativity, whether it's in making food, whether it's in making a poster, whether it's in making a wonderful documentary, that the gifts that we have can be used in different ways. So I just want to thank you. And I think too, my last little comment would be that where the faiths could come together, Christian and Muslim faith could come together, reaching into their own traditions to raise up the need for peace and fullness of life for each person. I feel deeply moved, and I think we can do our part by spreading the knowledge of this movie across the world.
Thank you, Sister Pat. Some questions? Yes, please.
Be here. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Good afternoon. I'm Alena Metiria. I'm from Guatemala. I worked for the Guatemalan government for 25 years. I'm retired now, so I'm very happy. And I just wanted to congratulate UISG and the actresses and the director and the producer, because I think that, as we can see in the movie, women need to be educated in order to prevent things, because what really touched me in the movie was the part of Shaima that always, when she was in trouble or she was not secure, she always thought of her mom. You know, I need my mom for a little bit, and my mom was happy. So the figure of the mother, and mother being a woman, needs to be educated in order for their children and their families to be aware and to avoid all kinds of tricks. So the beautiful part of the religions working together, women working together with bridges only, and really on a profound will to help, is something that should bring us ahead. So that's something that gives us hope. And thank you so much for what you do, because this UISG is fantastic. Thank you, and congratulations.
سيستر جابرييل طلبت إذا أحكي عن دور النساء
Sister Gabriela asked me to speak a bit about the role of women mothers. So I would like to talk about my mother. You probably noticed it was my mother in the end who was able to turn upside down the pan, and the pan was very big, very heavy and hot, but my mother is fairly used to cooking large amounts, and to do that, although the man is the one with the muscles, but he was unable. And this shows the role of women and of mothers. My father unfortunately died 10 years ago. When I was very young, we were 5 sisters. So my mother had to be mother and father, brother, and she has always been our resource, encouraging us. And the story of my mother is the story of many women and many mothers in our society. A woman is strong, is full of talents, particularly in the Middle East, because women suffer a lot in the Middle East. They need to fight in order to work, to take care of their families, to help there is a lot of struggle because against empowering women. So women are sometimes fighting for their own rights, and they are hampered in their roles, and they're unable to truly put their talents to the profit of societies. And so the feeling, this deep feeling of my mother, and starting from my mother, she wanted to do something. And I want to thank all the mothers of the Middle East, and also myself as a mother. If I have to speak about the role of a mother, particularly in our current times, particularly the younger ones, I think it's very important to pass on the message to future generations. The idea of peace, but peace not only outside, but also inside yourselves, brotherhood, fraternity, and motherhood of the entire Middle East. And this is Nassim speaking, and I would like to share with you two experiences of this project. When we first met all together, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, to truly start to sow the idea of this project, well, I remember that this moment of encounter, I can tell you that women are truly like magician. They are truly special. And during these days together, we all came. Of course, we came with our background, we came with our wounds, our suffering, but we also came with a lot of energy, and there was like almost like a natural light, and we all cried, and I certainly probably would start crying also now, but we did cry, and we thought, how can we all together help all the vulnerable women? Because we know that we are strong, but how can we help all those very fragile and vulnerable women? We are fragile. However, we cried, and we cried a lot. But then we finally agreed, and we said, no, we cannot be the weak ones. We cannot be vulnerable. We have to be strong and carry on. And for this film, I want to thank Leah. So when we went to film in Jordan, we had to find a source, and we didn't find a source of water. So we went into the desert, and in the desert, there was a strong wind. And I wanted to tell the story. The wind was so strong, I couldn't continue. But the wind was carrying us left and right. And then we started walking. And then when we started walking, we found that tent, a tent that we had seen in the documentary, but it was completely empty. So we entered into the tent. We found some mattresses. There were a few children there, and besides, the wind was blowing so strong, they really had nothing. They were barefooted, very little clothes, and that showed us the reality. That was a true reality. That was not a fiction. That was reality. We were telling a true story. That was reality. They had no food, no shoes, no identity, no nationality, because they didn't even have a document. Of course, they're alive. We saw them, but they had no documents. I really wanted to thank Leah, because we have filmed and we have told a true story. And now we know each other better and more. And you women here today, I feel that you all can probably experience what we have experienced. Although, men are different from women. I'm not saying that men are all evil, but we as women, I think we truly have a special privileged channel, and we understand each other. Thank you very much.
One word more, and then Wafa, if you would like to say something.
طبعا أنا آخر
Well, what I would like to do now, allow me, is to truly thank Sister Mary Claude. She has contacted us with us, and she basically helped us to work together and to collaborate. Thank you very much, Sister Mary Claude. And I hope that we truly can succeed and reach the goals that we have given to us. And also the idea, the message that we would like to pass on with this documentary is to give hope. Therese?
Non ti sentiamo, Teresa.
La giornalista.
There is a journalist, Antonella Sinopoli. First of all, she wants to thank for the documentary, and she asks, which is the relationship with institutions and your work? Did it truly bring tangible results? That is, women who went back home, or you have reduced trafficking? I understand it is not easy, but I think it would be important to assess the result of your work in the light of trafficking. I can start maybe answering to the question, and then I would like to give the floor to Sister Marie-Claude. Well, the Talita Kum networks stem from an initial process. A process starts with building a network and building relationships of trust. And so it's a confidence building, the first step. We try also to raise awareness, and this is truly the first step of our network, Talita Kum, to allow this network to be known and to be well rooted locally, and particularly to not to put at risk our lives, but I have an impact on local realities. So out of the 53 networks, we have different stages. Some of the networks are starting to build the network. It's a very widespread network. Others are instead launching campaigns of prevention, like Wells of Hope. Other networks in other countries, instead, we are already able to provide support to the victims, to those we are able to save from trafficking and are trying to be reinserted. It's difficult to say in one word which is our impact, because certainly we have contributed in allowing to raise awareness in order to understand all of the aspects of this phenomenon. It's unfortunately globally widespread, and it is globally growing because of the social and economic conditions which are somehow favoring and the development and the growth of trafficking. But in 2018, we have been able to support 15,500, and we were able to basically reach 235,000 people, victims of trafficking. And this is thanks to this wonderful network of volunteers and of workers that we have worldwide. Maybe Sister Marie-Claude wants to add something? Well, our project, this project, Wells of Hope, is still at the very beginning. We started in the Middle East. And what is more important in this phase is to set up a team of people who can work together and who can work together across countries. And this is of great importance to us because What we do in every single country where we are is to coordinate our actions and activities with local, region, national institutions and organizations involved in this field. And we are aware that we are truly still very small and that we are starting, but we are able and we can collaborate with many organizations and networks, because I believe that together we can reach victims and we can support them. And this is our true force of Wells of Hope. And the story that Nassim has told us in this film, we as a team, we met the parents of Shaima. We have accompanied them, and we are also able to link countries, organizations, and that was how we understood what happened to Shaima. I cannot tell you how many other cases. I have a very short clip of the wedding of young girls and how these traffickers involve them and attract women like us. And they are able to manipulate, to convince these young girls and these families in need. So traffickers use women to reach other women. There are really horrible cases, horrible stories about these young women forced to be married. So our primary goal is to raise awareness in all social classes and social contexts. Our work is fairly simple, but it's truly widespread in the Middle East countries. Thank you very much. I wanted to add that collaboration with institutions is of fundamental importance, and we always are in touch with NGOs, with institutions, with public organizations. I know that now there is an additional question.
But we have also a lot of questions about how can we use the film and how to find the film to use it for in the school, with youth, and where can we buy it?
Allora, noi abbiamo dei DVD qui, che chiediamo una donazione per il progetto.
We have DVDs here outside. You can purchase them here at our offices of the USG. For those who are remote distance, you can purchase them through the talitakum.org, and you can basically send a donation, a minimum of 10 euros, which is the coverage of the expenses. You can either download or you can simply view the film, and you will receive a link with the password if you do this kind of purchase online. It can be used. We certainly invite you to use it, to talk about it, to discuss. You can do that to promote our work as well. And if you want to send us that, we also have this other website.
What has been the impact of this film in your own country? It is a very moving and engaging film.
Well, I think that this is the first preview of the film. So we are unable to assess the impact because it has just started. But I would say that with the trailer, we have received a lot of requests from Tunisia to organize showing the film, also from the United Kingdom. And this is simply from the trailer. So we have, and then of course, Nepal, as we said, Nepal is going to be the opening of the Human Rights International Film Festival, which will start next week, and then we will be able to answer more precisely to the question. I do have a question for Leah, if nobody is going to ask her. I remained extremely attracted and curious about those places that you have chosen, because sincerely, I know that you have filmed in Jordan, but I was really surprised. This very small little place of prayer of both Muslims and Christians, and then the desert, and then the water, and those sources of water. I think this question is really important because nothing has been chosen by chance. The beautiful chapel of St. George, St. George's that Wafa showed us and allowed us to discover. It's absolutely a beautiful, wonderful place. You have seen that there has two walls, one for the Christians and the other is with the with the Suarez. So people of different religions are together to pray. So the sources, these wells of hope, as Nassim said, we tried to find these sources of water in the desert, and then we found two. The first is the source of Lawrence, where it's basically Lawrence of Arabia. He was hidden there before defeating the British Army, so against colonialism, and it was of great importance and symbol. And the water, that beautiful water. So of course, if you are an expert in filmmaking, we have not used any kind of color correction. So there is no kind of Photoshop or anything. The water is the source of Moses, which is in Jordan. And then Nassim also explained that it was very difficult in the shooting because, you know, we also had a miracle because we were exhausted. The wind was so strong that even our tools were being blown away. And then when we have seen the link, suddenly, all of a sudden, the wind stopped. And we did the shooting, we have seen the children, and then the wind started blowing again fiercely. We also have beautiful images at the border with Syria. You know what happened? What you could see is exactly what you were reading in the press. There was a video call with Sister Anne, and she was physically there. That's not something we have done in editing. That was a moment when there was a fire, and the fire was really quite impressive. And then those children and those who were doing the harvesting of the olive trees, everyone was truly a bit affected. And they said, why don't you come and have a cup of tea? Let's have a cup of tea together so that we can somehow feel a bit appeased. And the final place is where we walked in the desert, those footsteps that you have seen. And in that desert, the figures, we have 600 young boys and girls who have fled from Eritrea, and then you find parts of their bodies who have walked basically along those paths because the traffic has been the traffic of organs. 400 have been freed thanks to a number of initiatives, but unfortunately, we also have the names of the other 600. And so walking along the footprints with wells of hope is a sign of hope so that this may no longer happen in the future.
Grazie.
Thank you very much. Yes, I see there.
The trafficking of human organs comes up in this film in a very powerful way. Are there educational resources about this developed to go with the film?
I think it's a wonderful proposal. This documentary, as I said, is a truly initial step. And I think that it is a truly valuable tool which has involved the gifts and talents of different people. If I tell you how much it has costed, because a lot is work of volunteers, of gifts like Nassim and many others who believe. And we hope that from this idea, this may give rise to other ideas, because creativity of what is good is contagious. And so the idea of education is one of our priorities as well, is something which hopefully will flow from this. I think we will go one step at a time. We don't have anything specific, but we have the desire to build. I don't know if you would like to add something. I would like to ask Sister Monica and Sister Helen. They are superiors general, and they are in charge of those sisters living in Syria and in Lebanon. I would like to ask your comment, reaction from this documentary.
Okay. Well, I add my congratulations to all of those that have already spoken about the importance of this movie to help people understand more deeply the problem that is around the whole globe. It's not only in the Middle East, unfortunately. It is, as you know, all around the globe. And the congregations that are in many places, we all link together to cooperate. I think one of the things that I was struck with is what can we do really to also educate the young people, especially young boys, about their role and their relationship with women through our religion, you know, because I think that that's an important thing for us to be able to do that. I think you entering your movie into to have it shown around in that opportunity for other people who are having other kinds of movies, what your movie will say will be quite different, and I think it will touch many people deeply. So I think that we'll be ready to clap for you when you get your award.
I too join. I would like to thank you. Okay. I'm so deeply moved and touched that I don't know what to say. For me, congratulations is too little. There's so many things that touched me. One is the title, Wells of Hope, that deep bass going deeper, deeper, deeper to bring hope. The other aspect is the aspect of interfaith. Doesn't matter which religion, people are suffering. And we all just need to get together to bring hope and an end to all this kind of slavery. The element you talked about is the aspect of women. And I would like to take what you said. It's not just educating women, which is important, but men as well. That they treat us as objects. Thank you for the work you've done, and I'm sure it'll touch many, many lives. And together, we will change the world. God bless you and continue this good work. Thank you.
Hello.
Altre domande?
Are there any other questions? Cecilia.
Hello. Okay, good evening. First, I would like to congratulate all those who made this film. It's really very powerful. Just an observation. When I came in late. The first thing that struck me was that these are all women, and I'm looking for men. I really hope that one day this can be shown to men, because this is a very, very one or two or three. Because this is a very powerful documentary and artistically done. So I think men should see this, because to counter human trafficking, we need men. So let's show this to men and let them become involved.
Thank you, Cecilia. Non chiamerò gli uomini.
I'm not going to ask a man to speak because I already had the courage to be here. I think that's sufficient. But maybe we can certainly give them as a gift this DVD. We're going to send this as a present to our male congregation and invite them to view it. And that's certainly something we can do. I think I have received the Islamic Relief Organization. Unfortunately, they remained in Verona because they just had a child a few days ago. The responsible, but in Islamic Italian communities, we can organize some evenings to present. So we do have the first proposal, and I know that many men attend these kind of events. So that's also going to be a land of sewing, and I hope one day to be able to meet with this person, Abdel Razak, who has truly helped us a lot with the translation in Arabic, so that the Muslim community has contributed in through this very important service. I think there's another question. Fatima. Good evening. Good evening to all of you. It's not really a question. It's truly a message, a word of thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Gabriella, President, Coordinator of Talita Kum, for this meeting. I am Fatima. I live in Rome. I am Arabic, Muslim, Algerian, and Italian, and I work at the office of the World Muslim League in Italy, and I wanted to thank all of the sisters, all of these very brave women who have traveled from the Middle East, from the Arab countries, and 10 days ago, at the Italian Senate of the Republic, when Sister Gabriella, she spoke about this project of this documentary, I was immediately very interested, like women worldwide. I truly admire the courage of our sisters, our Christian sisters working in the Arab world, where women truly have no peace due to conflicts, due to social and economic degrading conditions, and they also suffer limitations physically and materially. So I want to truly thank a lot, very much, our Christian sisters who are there to help every woman, regardless their origin, their culture, their religion, their belonging. I think that they truly contribute and help women in that in those regions of the world which are really enduring very difficult lives, and they show where their courage how much they were able to implement and also to convey the message of the Holy Virgin Mary through silence. Silence is very powerful and also overarching and overreaching. Thank you.
Grazie a te, Fatima.
Thank you, Fatima. And we also want to share your expression of gratitude, and we want to join our thanks to all the Muslim women, but not only the Muslim, the Buddhist, Alawite, Sunni, Shiite, and many other religions, because they, as women, we take care of life. And when we do that together, I think that the result is beautiful. Thank you very much for being with us. Please, there's another question. Somebody's raising their hand. Yes, Maria Rita. Yes, it's me. Maria Rita Cerimele. I'm from the movement, the Focolari. It has been truly very moving, this documentary, because besides art, the creativity and the beauty of the places, there is something from inside which is very moving and which is touching our hearts. I think it will certainly be a very important tool to raise awareness that has to be used, and I encourage everyone to do that. And I will personally commit myself to show this to young people with maybe additional possibilities of showing it in Rome. And what has given me a lot of hope is having this man with us here, because sincerely, in this new alliance, well, new and renewed, but we're rooted in God, between men and women, I think that together we will be able to succeed in our battles and our fights, but it will be certainly more effective. I am slightly curious. I don't know if I have well understood, but in that tent, you found some children. That was a true story. And is that what you said? Yes. And so I wanted to ask you, these invisible children, this small group of children, the moment you meet them, is it possible to save them from this kind of life and destiny, or this is not possible? I mean, can you do something immediately, or is that possible? You see, yes, the tent was a real tent, Bedouins of a tribe, Bedouins in Israel, in Egypt, Jordan, also in that region, as Nassim has told us. Often they don't have a document, they are not recognized, but there are some groups of women, of Palestinian, Jewish, and also Jordan women, who try to help them, because you start, but you cannot do anything if you don't have a mother. But when you start working with the mother, when you basically involve her through little cooperatives, trying to help women to work and have a little profession, we have seen that through that, a lot of families basically they start instead accepting to join life, a concrete life. So we involve the mothers of these children. We try to give them a little job, and this allows them, these Bedouins, to accept. I think that there is someone who is asking to take the floor. And of course, I know that a few Buddhists are online, and they made comments, and they also sincerely paid tribute, and I want to welcome them. Please take. It's not true that there are no men here. Let me see what language. Well, you see, I think that Pope Francis has been the first supporting you, particularly in this field. And I would like to thank you for this documentary, for this film. I want to thank Nassim, because your narrative has truly conveyed the message in a very powerful way and in a beautiful way as well. But there are two comments I would like to make. Well, first of all, one is addressing women, and the second to men. Women, you have a very special force. That is your role as educators. And I think this is a very important role. And those men who have tried to steal the organs, this is the fruit of a very unhealthy education which starts in families. So if we are able to shed light and to highlight these mistakes in education, we can prevent similar situations. And we as men, we have a role. We have to be the witnesses, we have to be the heralds of a new narrative, a new message, particularly the way you should treat women in the Middle East and in the Arab world. And I think we have to raise awareness with men. And I would like to have more men in these meetings, because I think they also play a political role. They are decision makers and they should be involved. But thank you very much for this initiative.
Grazie, ci stiamo avvicinando.
Thank you. I think that we are coming closer to the end of our meetings, but I would like to ask one last word. I would like to start with Nassim, and then Wafa, and then Leah is going to be the last one. Well, I would like to tell you something about men and women. Once upon a time, I was in Algeria. I was there to work. And there was an NGO involved in human rights. I went there with a French friend, and we were there to do some storytelling. And we basically thought that there was only one woman, all the others were men. And I thought, what kind of community is this? And I was very happy about that. And I said, oh, but I'm truly very happy, you know, because men were there to help us. And so I asked myself, but maybe they did not allow women to attend. Is that the reason? So I want to thank you women for being here today. And I truly hope that this film can touch you intimately so that you may be convinced to collaborate. Of course, we cannot eliminate at once the problem, but we can support. We can try to alleviate the suffering of victims of trafficking, which is truly a plague in our societies, because conflicts, particularly in the Middle East, are very fertile land for these. And I thank Talita Kum, Wells of Hope, and all of those who have collaborated, the colleagues, the filmmaker, the director, film director, and all of you individually. All of you. And I don't want to speak about religions, social classes, but I talk to you as human beings, and I wish hope to every country in the world. Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to thank all of those who have really allowed to build this network. Sister Marie-Claude, all the sisters in Lebanon, Jordan, Sister Gabriella, all the young ones who have helped us. Even the filmmaker, the shooter was behind the camera, was a cameraman, was a man. And also the driver was a man. So we did have men along this adventure and journey. So they really had an important role. I, of course, hope that peace may let's say, prevail. I come from the Holy Land. You know, Jordan is part of the Holy Land. And I believe that we can truly share peace and what we live in Jordan. And I hope that all of these conflicts may come to an end. And I hope that we might truly convey a very strong message, and that we may convey that to the future generations. And I hope that we can finally sort of see this film with many men, and that may God bless you. I'm going to be truly very short, and I know that we are different from a religious and cultural point of view, but I think we share a common goal and project, and I hope that this has to be the true strength of our team. Thank you.
Yeah, allora, già che li abbiamo...
So we have, I want to thank Alessio Osele, the director of the shooting of the photos, of all the imaging, the producer, Morgan, who is going to basically bring this film in Nepal, and where he's going to meet men and women in Nepal to present this. And so concretely, how can we help Sister Mary Hope, Marie-Claude, Ezra, Wafa, Nassim, and Sister Marie-Claude? All of these women are working a lot, and they all need to have tools, and the tools basically are everything. I mean, for example, having a home where you can bring, save a victim, send formators in these refugees camps who can maybe talk to them, talk to the young boys and girls and teach them. These are very concrete actions which need concrete tools. We, as Aurora Vision, we basically so far have given a lot of free days of work as support, and this is what we have been able to do. I think we can all contribute in one way or the other. So of course, for those who are living nearby, can maybe organize meetings. You can buy the DVDs and maybe sell them, or maybe show them in order to support this project. And also for those who download the DVD from talitacum.info. As you can see in the image, you can send a little donation, but you can simply help. I'm truly sorry if I'm maybe now coming a bit to terms with the very material aspects, but I think that after a film, also concrete actions are important. And I think this is a bit also the miracle which can take place, because after we have seen the trafficking of little girls in Birmania, in the northern parts of the country, the outcome is fortunately building. We were able to build a little center, the Center of Happiness, where 60 of these young girls, which have been saved and basically recuperated from the trafficking, will be working there. So hopefully this will happen in the Middle East as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. Truly, thank you very much. Our friends will go back in Jordan. And of course, the friends from Syria were unable to leave the country because of security reasons. And I said, how can we speak about that in a context of war? And they said, well, you brought us hope. When Sister Marie Claude came to us, we understood that you had not forgotten us. Because this is the true problem when there is a war. The only concern is to bring blankets, but they don't need only blankets. They need also life-giving messengers. And you have brought life to us and hope to us. And thanks to these brothers and sisters who are going to go back to the Middle East, and I want to accompany them with our prayers, so that this flame, this force might be sown and reap fruits. If you want to remain with us, we asked truly very little contribution. We have a bit of Syrian food. We have a little appetizer. Also to basically, I hope, I don't know if it's going to be enough because not everyone had confirmed, but as a mother, the house is open and we will share what we have. And so it's simply to have a moment of peace and hope all together. Thank you very much.